Hello and welcome to the New World Review, your source for everything anime and manga. My name is Liam, and in honor of Hunter x Hunter, I am going to name my firstborn Beyond Liam. And today we're here to talk about Netero, but like better, further, beyond if you will, because our chairman may be long past, but his legacy still very much remains in the series in the form of his old man son, Beyond. And my question is, what is Beyond Netero's NEN affinity? And at this point you might be saying, wait a minute random guy on the internet, we haven't even seen Beyond use NEN at this point. How could you possibly suggest that you know something I don't? Well, you're right, we don't know for sure, but we do have enough information to make a solid estimation. Because NEN is about far more than aura use. It has more to do with personality and drive, and when it comes to both of those, we know plenty about Beyond. And it's all going to begin with a quick round of Dark Continent or Dark Incontinence, a very simple minigame, the rules of which are as follows. Beyond has found himself aboard a ship heading for the Dark Continent. However, he has also been struck with a terrible case of incontinence, and it's going to be your job to guess which of these 3 bathrooms Beyond chooses to use. Now, should you guess incorrectly, then your punishment will be to form a binding vow by subscribing to the New World Review, which will also result in consistent injections of hunter-based culture administered directly into your YouTube feed. And if you are correct, then you will also be allowed to use the bathroom, but only after finishing this video. So which one will it be? A, B, or the third one? Make your choice now, and we shall reveal the answer in 3, 2, 1, and bam, it was bathroom B, because bathroom begins with a B. The other 2 contained Dark Continent creatures. So if you chose incorrectly, then good luck. But you know the thing to do, and please do say hi in the comments below if you are new to our association. Welcome. But onwards and beyondwards. Let's start with general analysis. Beyond is actually quite rare in the series because he has not displayed any NEN use whatsoever. Outside of this one promotional artwork, that is. Togashi did once draw Beyond with what looks like aura surrounding his hand, but it's strictly promotional. It's hard to know what to read or even if we should read into this. So in terms of the actual series canon, Beyond is quite a quiet individual. And what I mean by this is that generally even characters that you think haven't displayed NEN have almost certainly done so at a basic level without you necessarily noticing. And Pariston is a great example of this. He's never shown a NEN ability, however he has been shown performing Ren on several occasions, which you can only pick up on in the manga through the assorted VUM sound effects which Togashi uses to indicate a hostile use of aura. However, when it comes to Beyond, he doesn't even have that much going for him. He certainly has a commanding presence on page, but in terms of aura, he can only be labeled as silent, which, rather fittingly, is exactly how his father Isaac was described by Zeno Zoldyck. Zeno stated that one of Netero's strongest points was just how quiet his aura was, undetectable and unreadable, a quality that seems to have been inherited by Beyond. So in this one unique case, a lack of aura display actually makes me take him far more seriously. As we should, because Beyond is of course a survivor of the Dark Continent. The only others that we really know of being his father and potentially up to 2 extremely overpowered hunters. And as his name not so subtly implies, he may very well be beyond the power of his late father, or at the very least he's in the prime of his life, whereas the Isaac Netero we know was in a state of decline. And the Zodiacs do recognize this, as they assigned no less than 3 of them to guard Beyond aboard the Black Whale 1. Although to be honest, that's still probably not enough. But in terms of Beyond's direct affinity, we have a bit of an intriguing situation here, because we almost never encounter multi-generational NEN users in the series. The 3 examples we do have being the Zoldyck family, the Freaks family, and now the Netero family. So discerning his affinity might be as easy as simple genetics. Isaac Netero was an enhancer, which means that according to the very minimal data we have, it makes it slightly more likely that Beyond is also an enhancer. Although to be fair, this is pretty much based entirely on the Zoldyck family example. Their NEN affinities follow a very clear set of genetics. All of the Zoldyck children have either inherited the affinity of their mother Kikyo, a manipulator, or their father Silver, a transmuter. And furthermore, Silver looks to have inherited transmutation directly from his father Zeno, so there is a clear through line there. But even if we do take genetics seriously from our one example, the idea of Beyond's unknown mother ensures that we can't just sit back and label him as an enhancer simply because of his father. So that means we need to consult our morally questionable oracle, Hisoka. Because this magical clownman has invented his own system of determining NEN affinities without even witnessing a single drop of aura. It's rather cutely labeled as the Hiso aura-based personality analysis, and it's a startlingly accurate system. Even though Hisoka himself states that it's no more accurate than trying to judge someone by their star sign, he is being modest. It's correct on, I would say, about 90% of occasions. So given that we were just talking about enhancement, let's begin there. Hisoka's criteria for an enhancer is someone who is simple and determined. They're very straightforward, never hide things, and do not lie. They're incredibly selfish and goal-oriented, plus their simplicity is reflected in their NEN abilities. And based on this, I think that enhancement isn't the greatest of fits for Beyond, mostly because he is far from simple and he's hidden literally everything about himself since his introduction, and he almost certainly lies, like he lies a lot. With that said, I should note that even Isaac Netero doesn't fit this description perfectly, or perhaps even at all. I mean, in many ways he was a very simple man with a simple goal, and a selfish one at that, but he did certainly hide quite a bit. And to be fair, Beyond may have been very sneaky with the Karkin Empire and the Hunter Association, but he has always been quite blunt about his goal of returning to the Dark Continent. So enhancement, no, it doesn't sound like the perfect fit, but I definitely wouldn't exclude it entirely. Next up, we have transmutation, which, according to Hisoka, presents very much the opposite of enhancers. Transmuters are whimsical, fickle, and prone to deceit. They hold unique attitudes and are regarded by others as tricksters and weirdos, which is fun because this is Hisoka describing himself as a weirdo, actually. Transmuters often put up facades, and even if they don't hide their personalities, they do hide their intentions. And this last part is probably the most applicable to Beyond. His true personality is on proud display at all times, however his intentions are completely shrouded. Nobody knows why he wants to go to the Dark Continent, just that he very loudly does want to. The problem here is that I would never call Beyond whimsical or fickle, because remember that Beyond has been planning this Dark Continent excursion for roughly half a century now. That takes some pretty extreme dedication and focus, and it's definitely not like a Hisoka situation where he gets distracted every 2 seconds by a new erection. So I don't think Transmuter is a great fit either. Moving on to emission then. According to Hisoka, natural emitters are impatient, not detail-oriented, short-tempered, and volatile. And we're gonna stop right here because this is probably the worst match so far. Not a single one of those English words can apply to Beyond. This man has been patiently planning a heavily detail-oriented plot with a calm demeanor for the last 50 years. There is no personality trait present in an emitter that suggests that Beyond could even be in consideration for it. However, this is one of those potentially unreliable situations because there are emitters which go against the grain as well. Razor, for example, who is the poster boy for emission, and it may well be because of meeting Jing, but he is incredibly patient and attentive to details. As a game master of Greed Island, paying attention to details are quite literally his entire job. He's very much the exception that proves the rule though. Most natural emitters do fit this description really well, like say Leorio or Knuckle. So I'm going to be bold and say that Beyond is almost certainly not an emitter, at least not according to Hisoka's crazy system. Which brings us to conjuration. Allegedly, conjurers are highly strung, stoic, serious dude guys and gals, and I guess non-binary, and they tend to be quite nervous and always on guard, whilst remaining observant and cognizant of falling into traps. Despite that nervous energy though, the trademark trait of a conjurer is the ability to perform calm analysis under almost any situation. And that last part right there is the only reason why we're not completely dismissing conjuration. As a man whose most famous line is, "I will wait no matter how long it takes," Beyond brings new definition to the word calm. But I definitely would not call him overly serious and especially not highly strung. In fact, he very much takes after his father and appears to take great enjoyment out of everything that life has to offer, even in exceptionally dangerous circumstances. So it's another meh one, but surely after so many meh ones, we are getting closer to the perfect fit. So let's try manipulation. Manipulators are argumentative and logical. They advance at their own pace and have a desire to keep their families and or loved ones safe. However, when it comes to pursuing their own goals, they do not listen to others. And it is simultaneously so perfect and yet so not perfect. Beyond can definitely be saddled with the descriptors of argumentative and logical. He may have a lot of flair whilst doing so, but logic is definitely king with Beyond. Plus, he does have a huge degree of demonstrated respect for his father. He even quotes Isaac during his introduction by saying, "My beloved father always used to say, when you stop challenging yourself, your life is over." However, this was a public address and he might just be using the reputation of the former chairman to advance his own agenda, which by the way though would be a stunning indicator of a manipulator, because whether that's his affinity or not, Beyond is a master of political manipulation. I mean, just due to his actions alone, an entire nation and a massive chunk of the Hunter Association are now en route to the Dark Continent, so he's got some skills to pay those manipulator bills. However, the problem is with the second part. When it comes to the goals of manipulators, apparently they don't listen to those around them, and that is demonstrably untrue with Beyond, because Isaac Netero forbade his son from revisiting the Dark Continent until after his death, and Beyond seems to have listened to his father. He made good on that command. So it's really tricky. Personally, I think that manipulation is the best fitting affinity so far, especially with the advance at your own pace mentality. But there is a pretty stark flaw, so let's see what specialization has to offer us. Specialists are independent and charismatic. They won't say anything important about themselves and refrain from forming close relationships. However, their natural charisma draws others, and they are often surrounded by many people. And Ding, ding, ding. It may not be quite as specific as Hisoka's previous definitions, but everything about specialization fits Beyond perfectly. He is absurdly charismatic, and despite being a lone actor, he is always surrounded by people. In fact, he's surrounded by an entire empire currently. So according to Hisoka, specialization would be Beyond's best fit. However, we do have another system, which is Furikov's criteria of affinity analysis via witnessing the 10 of others. And sadly, since we have not witnessed the 10 of Beyond, there's only so much we can do here. However, there is one very relevant aspect to examine, which is Furikov's definition of enhancers and transmuters. According to him, they have a very soft, quiet 10, which does play very well with the idea of Beyond's extremely quiet aura in general. Although if we were to take Togashi's promo artwork into account, then Beyond may also fit Furikov's conjuration definition, which is having a strong aura surrounding a dominant part of their body, with a gentle flow everywhere else. And this image definitely contains a strong dominant flow within that very handy sector. So what is Beyond's NEN affinity? Well, something we can exclude immediately is emission. There isn't a single piece of evidence that makes that path worthy of consideration, and despite the aforementioned statement about conjuration, that also feels equally as unlikely. There are just too many clashes of personality traits, and I'm not going to place any bets based on promo artwork. I'm also going to eliminate transmutation, not so much because it's impossible or even unlikely, but simply because the 3 remaining affinities fit Beyond significantly better. But now we're in a difficult spot because I think that you can make a solid argument for enhancement, manipulation, and specialization. But I'm also going to drop manipulation out of the running because on a surface level, yes, there are a fair few matches, mainly in regards to patience and apparent value of family, but there is also a big clash with goals and ambition, which leaves us with 2. The area with the most evidence is undoubtedly enhancement. Hisoka's personality test doesn't discount the affinity, where it discounts many others. Beyond's genetic inheritance supports enhancement, and Furikov's criteria also adds by highlighting the quiet aura of enhancers. However, the affinity that fits the most perfectly is specialization. Where there is evidence to question enhancement, there is nothing we've examined that contradicts specialization in any way. And if we do play the whole "it's a story" card, then I do think that specialization is the best dramatic choice for a primary antagonist. And if I had to place a bet of, solid cash monies right now, I would probably go with specialist. But enhancement is also very possible. It's difficult to empirically state one is more likely than the other, so you let me know what you think in the comments. And then go and have a delightful second video, one which is also about Hunter x Hunter, because there is always more to learn, explore, and experience with this wonderful series, so I look forward to seeing you there.